Hello, my name is Michael, and today I'm going to be showing you how to use the Microsoft Windows Debugging Tool to troubleshoot stop errors within Windows. Stop errors, or more commonly called blue screen errors, happen when the memory manager or kernel of Windows is interrupted to a degree where it cannot continue. When this happens, the stop error screen appears, and at this point we usually have to force the machine off. Stop errors can be caused by software, hardware, or a combination of the two, but a vast majority of stop errors are caused by faulty application or device drivers. When a stop error occurs within Windows, the session manager dumps everything residing in memory at that time. This is why you see the message beginning dump of physical memory. The session manager then takes the information and creates a DMP or dump file. The Windows Debugging Tool can decode these dump files to help provide a window into what was happening at the time the stop error occurred. The Windows Debugging Tool is available directly from Microsoft. You can click this button to take you to the Microsoft Windows Debugging Tool download page. This page is for the 32-bit version of Windows. When installing the Windows Debugging Tool, choose Complete Installation. Now we have to set up our symbol file path. This is a library of reference files that the Debugging Tool can use to compare the dump files to. First, we have to open the Windows Debugging Tool by clicking Start. Click All Programs. Highlight Debugging Tools for Windows and click the WinDBG icon. It will open the Windows Debugging Tool interface. Now we click File at the top of the window, then click Symbol File Path. This will open the Symbol File Path window. Now we can enter the path manually or simply copy and paste the server path from the Getting Started with Windows Debugger page on Microsoft.com. The symbols can be downloaded and stored locally, but for our purposes we will use the Microsoft server. Once the path is entered, just click OK. When the session manager creates a dump file, it then stores it into a minidump directory. By default, this is C Windows minidump. If the Windows Debugging Tool is installed on the troubled machine and the unit can still function, you can open the dump files locally. But if you're using a separate system to debug the dump files, you will need a way to get them over to that system. You can write them to CD, a thumb drive, or zip them into a folder and email them. Just remember to unzip before debugging. Now that we have our symbol path set up and know where the dump files are, we are now ready to debug. In the Debugging Tool window, click File, Crash Dump, click the My Computer icon, double-click the C drive, then double-click the Windows folder, and double-click the Minidump folder. Here we will see our dump files listed. Notice the name of the dump file is the date that it was created. Highlight a dump file and click Open. A separate window will open for the actual debugging of the dump file. It can take up to 30 seconds to establish communication with the server, so be patient. Once the file is debugged, you will see an Analyze command in blue at the bottom of the window. You can click on it or type it in the bottom command window. The debug analysis screen will go by very quickly. We will need to scroll back up to the start of the debug, the section labeled Bug Check Analysis. The first information we see is our actual stop error code, in this case a kernel mode exception not handled. Most of the time we should have seen this information already at the top of the stop error when it occurred. The next information in the analysis that we need is the default bucket ID. This is the failure type. In this case, we see it as a driver fault. If this stop error was caused by hardware, it would state that here, and at that point, we should run diagnostics. Then we look at the process name. In this case, rxmon.exe. This is the file that was in process with the kernel when it was interrupted, causing the stop error. The process is usually not the cause of the stop error, but it can help us in our investigation. Finally, we scroll down to look at the module and image names. These two usually share the same name. The image name file, which is usually a .sys or .exe file, is almost always what caused the stop error. In this instance, we see it as cdr4_xp.sys. We can then use Dell Knowledge, Google, Microsoft, etc. to find out what program or device the file belongs to. Now that we have our dump file decoded, we can analyze it. The first information is the default bucket ID or failure type. This stop error was caused by a driver. The second piece of information is the process name, which is rxmon.exe. This file was being processed when the stop error occurred. This file, according to Google, belongs to the Roxio Creator application. And the last information we need are the module and image names. Here they are the same. The culprit is cdr4_xp.sys. This file also belongs to Roxio. So to summarize this analysis, a driver fault was caused by cdr4_xp.sys as it interrupted rxmon.exe while it was being processed by the Windows kernel, causing the 0x8e kernel mode exception not handled stop error. Now we need to debug any other dump files that were created around this same date. This helps us make sure there are not other issues going on. You may notice that you are not able to open another dump file at this point. Just press the Shift and F5 key at the same time to reset the debugging tool to load the next dump file. There are instances when it is not possible or practical to run the Windows debugging tool. These include the inability to boot to any mode of Windows to retrieve the dump files. The stop errors occur when the session manager is not running, such as pre-boot or just after shutdown, to create the dump files. When the system is displaying multiple stop errors in a row, this is usually caused by faulty RAM. Or when you have a specific stop error pointing towards hardware, such as unmountable boot volume. In these instances, it's best to run the hardware diagnostics first. By using the Windows debugging tool to troubleshoot stop errors, you can determine if a stop error is caused by hardware or software, avoid timely and unnecessary operating system reinstalls, or find issues with driver compatibility.